Bizarre Brain Comics. Oh, hello, my comic book fiends. I am the Dark Librarian, and I'm here to tell tales of terror. Ah, yes, and as usual, I have my friend, Mr. Bones, here to render assistance to me. And this is the book we're going to take a look at right here. This is Ghosts number 47 from 1976 from DC Comics. Ooh. We'll take a look inside. Yes, my friends, this is Ghosts number 47 from 1976. I think I said 1975. 1976 DC Comics. It has 3 stories in it. This is edited by Murray Boltinoff. Ghosts is a horror mystery comic anthology published from 1971 to 1982 for a total of 112 issues. The title was created by Leo Dorfman, one of several horror mystery titles, started by DC after the loosening of the Comics Code Authority. With issue 95 through 102, it featured the title's only continuing character, Dr. 13, the Ghostbreaker. And before that, Ghostbreakers was a term that was used before Ghostbusters became pervasive. And a horror host, Squire Shade, was introduced in issue 104 until its cancellation of the title with issue 112. Okay. And of these 3 stories, I think all 3, I have no idea who the writers were. They're not listed. They, surprisingly for 76, had no creator credits, although the artists did sign their work. And their first one, which we see here, this is cool. You see the spook billowing out of the fireplace to harass the smooching lovers here on the couch. A nice spooky image, has nothing to do with the interior. Inside we see Wrath of the Restless Spectres and the Haunted Catacombs, as well as the Swahili Talking Bones. So we challenge you to read Ghosts, True Tales of the Weird and Supernatural. Yeah. But the artists, I said, did leave their creator mark on it. The first one is drawn by E.R. Cruz, who I have talked about before here, before this, and other venues. I don't remember much about him. Other than I believe all 3 of these artists are Filipino artists, and this was in the 70s. We were getting, the U.S. was getting a lot of Filipino artists, many of whom were like encouraged and brought over by Tony De Zuniga, and had some very fine artists, and getting their start in the U.S. market. They were, a lot of them were getting work in these horror mystery anthologies, primarily from DC. Okay, that's E.R. Cruz. The second one, in the second story, I can't make out his first name. Last name is Reyes. And then the third story is drawn by Abe Ocampo. All 3 of them are are very fine artists and have distinct styles of their own. And I think their styles probably, at least the styles that they're using here, work very well for this kind of material, but may not work nearly as well in moving over to the more mainstream and superhero type adventure stories. But I don't know how much success these artists had in the U.S. I have seen more of E.R. Cruz and I don't recognize the names of the other two. So I don't know if they were successful enough or if they returned to working in the Filipino market. Maybe went to Europe, or maybe they moved out of comics into other artist markets. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna try to take a quick look in Ghosts, and I don't know who did the cover. I can't make it out. It doesn't matter. Our inside cover is another one of the multitudinous Hostess ads. This is for Twinkies with Batman and Twinkieless Gotham City with the Penguin, who has been stealing the Twinkies. Okay, we start here with Wrath of the Restless Spectres, and then the splash panel is a fellow being harassed in a graveyard by the specters of his late wife and daughter. Okay, and central to this story is Grigory Rasputin. He was known as the Mad Monk, and an intimate with the Tsarina of Russia around the turn of the last century, up until the Russian Revolution or thereabouts. And he was many believe him to be a wizard, a sorcerer, and all kinds of stuff, as well as a monk. I mean, he is mostly just a bad person, but he's an intimate of the Tsarina, and he's coming in to see her because she is telling him about they think there's a Bolshevik spy in their court, and of course, in this story, there really aren't any good guys, because the Bolsheviks, although fighting for their own freedom against the oppression of the czars in Russia and the crown, the Bolsheviks weren't good either. So he says, "I'll take care of it." And he figures out who has a suspect, brings him in, and speaks to him and says, "Flee the court while you can, for as surely as I was sent by heaven to rescue Russia, I can summon the powers of hell to destroy her enemies." Being very, very spooky, says he will be his loved, talking about the death of his loved ones, and he will be harassed by restless spirits. And he goes home, and before too long, his wife has contracted some illness, and she dies, or she was murdered. He is dead, and she was murdered to drive me out of the movement. And he goes to see Rasputin, but they won't let him in. There he is. Later, he is at the cemetery where he has buried his wife, and then he looks up and he sees that the graves of his parents have been disturbed, with the coffins, being dug up and the coffins pulled out. And he said, "Join them in a restless sleep, restless," and thinking restless spirits, because all these people are horribly or terribly superstitious. But he restores the grave. Then later, at some time later, he's involved in some kind of protest, and his daughter is seemingly accidentally, run down by a runaway coach and killed. And so he has to take her back out to the cemetery. And here we see that he has constructed a locked cage around the graves of his parents and his wife to keep people from disturbing them. But he gets in, and they've all been dug up again and somewhat disturbed. Well, he's here to bury his daughter. And there, approaching him, says, Vasily, hear me, my husband.
Irina, no, it can't be. Resist the Tsar no more, Vasily, so we may rest in peace.
And then his daughter and his parents, spooks, harass him as well. And he steps back and falls into an open grave. He collapses there. Then, while he's down there, no one can see him. Here come two guards, from Russian guards, and they come in, and he can hear them talking about. Said Rasputin wants us to make it seem as if the bodies move about. Yeah, rip off the lid of the coffin. And so he says,
a conspiracy. That madman would do anything to crush us. Restless dead, eh? I'm to join them, am I? We shall see about that.
He grabs a fallen gun from one of the guards, and they engage in a gun battle. And shortly, a little later, in Rasputin's quarters. And we see,
I've come to kill you, Rasputin. Says, you said I would die too, but it is you who will perish.
And Rasputin was,
ha ha! You think to shoot me? Look again. There is no pistol. Is this another of your tricks? You cannot fool me. You have not yet guessed the truth, that my prophecy has been fulfilled. You cannot kill me, for you are already dead, shot in the cemetery. And your spirit shall indeed be restless. You are doomed to walk the earth as a ghost, as punishment for your crimes against the state.
And that is my terrible Russian accent. Then we have the Swahili talking bones. This is a young Bantu man, and this takes place in the late 50s, early 60s. Coming from the forest, he's going to the city to try to get work, and in the process he comes across a Swahili tribesman as well, and they fight because they are traditional enemies. They fight, and he kills him, and then instantly he is harassed by the ghost. He finally gets to the city, and he's taken is agog because he's never seen anything like the city. He's nearly run over by a truck. Someone helps him off to the side, and then this little kid approaches him because he was saying, "How will I find my life here?" And this little kid offers, "Here's a shaman here in this alley, and he'll read the bones for you." So, then ask them how it will be for me here in Leopoldville. That's it, Leopoldville in Congo. Named after King Leopold of Belgium from a century and a half ago. And he reads the bones, and he says, he makes mention of having had a recent conflict and killing the Swahili tribesmen. And look at the great character drawn into, I don't know if you can see it, great character drawn into that old man's face. Oh, that's really nice. And he gets the young man starts getting loud, and because he takes offense to the accusation, which brings a bunch of the bystanders. And while the bystanders are there, from the bones, whooshes up the ghosts, and the ghosts accuse him of murder. And so when the cops get there, the witnesses tell them about the ghosts accusing him of murder and tell the story, and they haul him off. And then they find that one of the bones, which is not supposed to be, one of the bones was actually a human rib bone. It looks as if it had been damaged by a spear point. Then the haunted catacombs, and this is overall probably I liked the first one, but this may well be one of the best presented, the haunted catacombs. A couple vacationing in Rome, an American couple vacationing in Rome, and he wants to go see the catacombs under the city, where the Christians buried their dead, a couple thousand years ago. She wants to go shopping, so he said, "Okay, I'll go to the catacombs. You go shopping." So she goes. When she comes home, he's not, back to their hotel room. He doesn't show up. So she gets up in the middle of the night, calls to see if there was any message at the desk. Nothing. So she gets dressed and says, "She's got to go find him." Goes to the catacombs. See the guard, says no one has come in. There was some damage from some housing construction and caused a cave-in, so it's been closed for days. But she finds her husband's scarf on the ground, so she knows while the guard has gone to go eat his lunch, she slips in and searching around, calling his name. "Stan, can you hear me? Hear me? Hear me? Answer me! Answer me! Answer me!" And seeing some of the bones in the coffins disturbed from the cave-ins and such. Then suddenly she sees what appears to be a specter, and it's coming for her, coming towards her. She says, "A ghost, go away!" And she runs away. And there's a sudden tremor, and there was a collapse in the roof, another small collapse in the roof. Then she runs into the guard and says, "No, you shouldn't be here. It's forbidden." And she says, "My husband, he's in here." And then she sees they both see the specter, and it takes her back to where they had the cave-in earlier in the day, and the specter has led her to was the specter of her husband and led her to his corpse. So that is all I've got for you this time with Ghosts, True Tales of the Weird and Supernatural. That's goofy stuff. Thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And do leave comments down below. What do you think of this book? Do you like these books? How about the Ghosts title? It's at this period in my life when those were coming out, I was not much into the horror, and I seldom got any of these mystery stuff. An occasional one from DC, mostly from Gold Key, and I wish I had gotten more. And this is the title I seldom run across, so it's good to see it. So leave your comments down below, and remember, comics are art.